And now we have for you a conducted story. We're all going to tell the same story. And I'll get that the title of that story in just a second. And each of us is going to tell the story in a different genre. So can you remind us of what your genres are? Irene?
Film noir.
Film noir. David?
Campy horror.
Conducted story. We're all going to tell the same story.
Sorry. That was my fault.
Literally.
I was trying to share it and I messed it up. I'm so
Heard my
sorry.
own voice. It was so weird.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Let's go back to you, David. What's your style?
Campy horror.
Campy horror. Steve?
Romance.
Romance is correct. JodyLee?
Do 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 do. Science fiction.
I love it. Mark?
I have historical fiction.
That is correct. I lost my place. Jeffrey?
And I'm a pop-up book.
Yes. Yes, you are. Elena?
Western.
Lovely. And Jacob?
Very classy bodice ripper.
Nice. Classy bodice ripper, not just a throbbing bodice ripper. I like it. Can one of you please shout out the title of a story that's never been told?
Underneath the Bridge.
Oh, excellent. Underneath the Bridge. I probably should have got that before we started, but that's okay. And now we present to you Underneath the Bridge. And we're going to start with JodyLee.
Penelope and her off-world companion Weeble were out on an adventure one afternoon, hiking through the woods to see what sorts of mushrooms they could find. It was a lovely day, and the birds were singing. They saw some fascinating, truly colorful mushrooms.
Hold it. I would like to switch over to Jeffrey, please. Jeffrey, take it away.
The mushrooms were bright and charming. They had little ballerinas dancing on them, and they were holding muffins. Penelope kept walking through the woods with Weevil until they found a mysterious cauldron.
Stop right there. I'm going to switch over to David.
Penelope peered inside the cauldron and noticed that it was bubbling. All of a sudden, the birds grew quiet. The countryside darkened as a cloud covered the sun. Weeble snuck up behind her and quivered. Penelope looked over her shoulder, thought she heard something in the back. It was nothing. She turned her attention back to the cauldron, and when she did, she looked down and saw not her own...
Right there, we're going over to Irene, if you will.
Face was peering back at her with a whiff of smoke just coming out of the cauldron. The little ballerinas clapped as they started to smoke their cigarettes at her. So you think you can beat the likes of us, they said. Weevil and Penelope looking back at each other, not sure. Do they jump in or don't they? Where will it take them?
Where will it take them indeed? And we're going to take us over to Jacob.
I'll tell you where it will take them. Someplace very naughty in the woods. At least that's what Weeble said as he winked at Penelope, his voice quivering with anticipation. Penelope's bosoms heaved as she followed the ballerinas through the dark, sultry woods. The muffin crumbs dribbling down her chest. onto the forest floor, as if tiny whispers saying, "Dare you?"
Don't even change a thing. Go right over to Elena with Western.
The tiny whispers were saying, dare you stay in the same town as me? I'm talking to you. Let's go outside. Oh, wait, we're in the woods. Draw your weapon. There can be only one or many in these woods. But in this case, one from the two of us. Penelope didn't know where the voice was coming from. Where was she gonna shoot?
Let's stop there for a second because we're going over to Mark with historical fiction.
Penelope didn't know where to shoot. Do I shoot my best friend, Weevil? Or do I shoot the ballerinas that have been accompanying us in these deep, dark woods? She didn't know. She looked at the gun and she felt possessed. She's like, where have I felt this possession before? You ballerinas must be witches.
Steve, romance.
And the ballerinas, they said, well, yes, we are witches, but we have cast a love spell upon you and Weeble. And Weeble crouched because he was afraid. He was afraid that if he let all the feelings in his heart show, that Penelope would look at him with disgust and walk away. And he turned his back on her. Penelope was confused. She saw that Weeble had feelings for her as she had for him. And she didn't know how to tell him that.
Oh, Irene.
I'll just come out and say it, she said. I'll just come out and say it and you won't be able to stop me. And he turned around. Weevil turned around and said, that's never stopped you before, has it? They felt threatened. They felt unnerved. But the witches were dancing around them now, cackling as they went around them in a circle.
David.
Circling round and round and round, the witches started speaking in tongues. Ika, Kafluka, Mintinga, Punjaka, and Penelope and Weevil started raising in the air off of the ground. Wuka, Chimba, Huonka! It grew in intensity, the language of the witches. And the feeling of being compressed and...
Steve!
And they were chest to chest, face to face, lips barely apart. Would they show their love to each other at this point? But no, Weeble turned his head away because he was embarrassed, because he was frightened. He loved her so much.
Over to you, JodyLee.
Fortunately, Penelope remembered that Weevil had an all-language translator with him, which he had at all times because it came as part of his spaceship package, right? That he got when he got his used spaceship from Sam's used spaceship company. So they took the translator and listened to what the witches had been singing.
Over to you, Mark.
The witches were singing something incredibly sultry and of love, but it was of haunting love. And Penelope and Weevil just felt possessed by this.
Over to you, Jeffrey.
Possessed by the awe of this love. And so Penelope decided to finally succumb to her feelings and presented Weeble with a flower.
Elena.
She presented Weevil with a flower and also a little dance to the local piano music. Pianos are very important to tell a love story. And pretty soon they were dancing together until
Jacob?
Her corset exploded!
That's all the time we have for today. Delightful. And we need to get Jacob a new shirt now.
I'll be back. Yeah.
That's all right in there.
I got the, yeah. I got a chest hair plug.
That's all right in there. So that was our conducted story, and we'll be right back with more improv whenever we feel like it.